I hear 1, 1, 1, 1, 5, 5, 5, 5, 4, 4. Can I get a 3, 3, 3, 3 Y's? Radio to the man in the blue coat. Very good looking.
We need to find some dino s'mores for you now that it is back.
Yum, yum, yum.
It doesn't come out till like the 1st of December.
It's in November.
Did it?
Yeah.
What does?
Dino s'mores from Off Color.
It's from Off Color, but it's a 10.5 chocolate stout, but it's like super...
Dinosaurs?
It's super dinosaurs. But it's really smooth, as if it were a milk stout, but it's not. My hair's a mess, I know.
I think you look quite fetching.
Thanks.
You're like a homeless man. You're like, oh, that guy could probably put himself together. But he can't, because he has no bathroom access.
Garrett's Hair, Wizards, and Guilty Pleasures, all on today's show. Welcome to Three Wise Radio, a podcast where we talk about movies, video games, comic books, technology, the internet, and pretty much everything else media related. My name is Joe Greller. I am one of the Three Wise Guys. Joining me, as usual, the other two Wise Guys, Garrett Welker and Sam Pixley. Hey, Garrett. I did not mess up for like the first time in about 2 months.
What does we talk about the internet mean?
It's like anytime we do web stuff or...
But right, but like, the web is everything.
Exactly. So how would you phrase that then?
I don't know. I was just curious. I never thought about it.
Yeah.
Like, we're never like, oh, we're talking about movies today. Oh, we're talking about internet today. It's just, it's not like a specific thing. I don't know why I thought of that for the first time. Maybe it's because you nailed the intro so smoothly.
So you had time to think about it.
I had time to process instead of being like, well, there goes Joe fucking up again. Doesn't really assess what we do.
No, it doesn't. But what we will do on today's show, because Thanksgiving is coming up, we're going to take a look at some of the guilty pleasures one might have with overindulging food and whatnot. But ours will be more media.
Internet related.
Internet related? Okay, good. And then also we'll be taking a look at the brand new...
Harry Potter movie.
In this term, yes, because it is within the world, the new Harry Potter film, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Yeah. I got that right. So joining us is our Fantastic Beasts correspondent, Hannah Bobeen.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. It's been a while since you've been here.
It has. A few months.
Yes, it has. And hopefully this will go much easier than the last time you were here, because I believe the last time was Metropolis, and we were broadcasting from the Movie Versus studio that day.
The struggle was real. To say the least.
We don't talk about that.
Issue 35, if you want to hear that. Anyway, let's move on to some headlines. First and foremost, I mentioned I wanted to talk about this earlier in the week. Apparently, the Inhumans show that's coming to ABC in the fall of 2017 will make its series premiere in IMAX. Yes, in IMAX, all of the IMAX glory. That is an
3D,
IMAX
high D.
with scenes shot in IMAX even.
Huh. Okay. So their pilot's going to be great, and the rest of the show is going to be shit then, right?
Yeah. Not necessarily. Okay, I have a theory behind this, but before we get to it, according to The Hollywood Reporter, there will be an action sequence that shows an Earth satellite and something that will be on the moon, and those scenes will be shot with IMAX cameras.
That's not compelling.
Apparently, they will also shoot still with IMAX cameras every now and then, even after the series premiere as well. So, certain episodes that are just made for television will be shot with IMAX cameras as well.
That's not smart or fiscally responsible.
I think it's IMAX doing it because they're pumping $2 million into this series. IMAX is.
Wow.
I think there's still a lot more information and probably changes to come before this actually hits. That just seems like they don't know what to do with it. It's still a property. I think that all still does back from not knowing what to do with mutants or Inhumans or what their role is going to be and what Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is going to be. And luckily they just keep disguising their confusion with good, solid movies so that on the other side you don't worry about this stuff because it's not really that important.
I mean, hopefully we can get something like we have been with Ghost Rider where it's just like, that just completely overshadows what's actually going on in S.H.I.E.L.D. and it's like, doesn't matter. We've got these strong characters now, and hopefully we can get a whole show out of it. Clearly, we're probably not going to get like Vin Diesel and.
This is what we're going to talk about.
Oh, is it?
This is my theory. So, the reason the pilot episode is going to take $2 million and be shot in IMAX
is for
Vin Diesel to actually agree to do Black Bolt in just the first episode, and then you won't see him again ever.
That's what I think it'll be. It'll be him, Medusa, Ripjaw, the big dog. And I think that it'll be like probably they'll do something, and some people, some Inhumans will stay on Earth, and they'll be like, all right, we're going to leave you to it, and then Black Bolt will fly away to the moon.
So we just won't have Black Bolt, but we'll have the rest of the royal family?
I think it will just have Inhuman. No, I think that the royal family will go with him, and it'll be like...
This whole show's supposed to be about the royal family, though.
Not anymore. Vin Diesel's not going to do a TV show.
No.
At this point, I don't think he is. I think he'll do...
You don't need Vin Diesel for Black Bolt, though.
You don't, but Black Bolt needs a movie.
And Vin Diesel was supposedly in talks to do him, 2-3 years ago even?
Yeah.
So,
And are you familiar with Black Bolt?
Nope, not a clue.
So his power is he can't speak because the sonics in his voice are so powerful that if he were to yell, he could shatter the earth. That's not something you could easily depict or make compelling in TV, yes? Because you can't talk. Your character can't have dialogue with anyone. So...
and keep in mind, the man who's portraying him is Dominic Toretto.
Vin Diesel.
Under that cool black costume is a wife beater.
And a Corona?
And, utility belt. Hidden compartments. I just don't think that works. That doesn't translate.
No.
Probably doesn't.
Okay.
Moving on to our weekly Deadpool saga. Deadpool 2 is now apparently hired John Wick director David Leitch. So...
This is the best news that I've heard about Deadpool since hearing that Tim Miller left.
Yep, this is according to Variety. He was Fox's top choice, and they're finalizing negotiations right now. So,
I'm tapping out on Deadpool news. There's too much coming out too quickly that I'm just... It feels like people are sniffing at it, and anytime they catch a whiff of anything, they're reporting it. So, I'm tapping out for like a month.
Just a month? Just wait till after the new year?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're still going to get... I think a week from now, I guarantee before the next podcast comes out, there'll be another thing. It's like, oh, wow,
Deadpool,
can't believe this happened.
Okay. I'll give you that.
Which I guess we need to sustain this podcast. So you can't really...
That's all this podcast thrives on.
I quit.
All right, in other news on the DC side of things, according to The Wrap, they apparently have gotten a hold of an overview of everything that they know about Zack Snyder's film, or that is known about Zack Snyder's film, and it is said that they are reporting that there will be a key sequence featuring a Green Lantern in the Justice League film to set up apparently what will be their movie in 2020. While the character's identity was not specified, the outlet highlighted several other details about Justice League, but that's all stuff we've known. Who's going to play Steppenwolf? They said that the Amazonians and Atlanteans will play a part in it. J.K. Simmons, Commissioner Gordon, Manganiello has a cameo as Deathstroke, all that stuff. So,
A lot of things. I don't care if there's a Green Lantern in it. I think it'd be cool, obviously, but...
It's too much.
Yeah, probably. I think you might have an interesting thing if they do, because the Green Lanterns have been around for a long time. I think you might have an interesting thing if, you do go back to those flashbacks, which are undoubtedly going to happen with the Amazons and the Atlanteans burying the mother boxes. If, just some high-tech lantern shows up to help, you're just kind of like, oh, what's this? I don't know. It's a god. And they I see them as a god or something like that. I think that'd be interesting. But it could be, it might be too much.
Okay, I'm going to read this next headline, and I want you to really think about all of this.
Okay.
All right. First off, what does everyone here think about live-action movies that mix with animals?
Real animals or fake animals?
Fake
We had a whole
animals.
cast about this.
I know,
Yes.
CGI animals. We had a whole cast.
So, Nine Lives?
No, more like Scooby-Doo.
Oh.
Garfield.
I don't like it.
Okay.
And I've thought about it.
What do you think about if I told you that this movie is going to be it's quote unquote being called or marketed as a family-friendly version of Ted, the Seth MacFarlane film with
But
the
Ted is an adult version of a family-friendly movie.
Okay.
So it's just a family-friendly movie.
What if I told you that this is being directed by Marc Foster?
I don't know who that is.
He did World War Z and Quantum of Solace.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Both family-friendly titles.
Exactly. Disney's live-action Winnie the Pooh movie titled Christopher Robin has just tapped Marc Foster to direct it, and in like their first conference about the movie, said that it will be a more family-friendly version of Ted.
That a family-friendly version of Ted featuring Christopher Robin isn't Pooh, it's Calvin and Hobbes.
Yeah.
I was going to say, they already had a Corduroy Bear movie like 2-3 years ago, too.
Yeah, you're right.
So, like, I don't know.
I
What's the difference then?
I thought the whole point of Winnie the Pooh was like, this is what happens when Christopher Robin is not in the room. Like,
is that what it is?
Essentially, that's
Doesn't
what
he go down the hole in the beginning?
Yeah, like he like
it's all based on his imagination.
it's all his imagination, but it like
Whose imagination?
Christopher Robin's.
Wait, what is Winnie the Pooh?
What do you think?
I didn't know it was somebody. I thought it was just about animals.
No, it's a stuffed bear and
Get
his
the fuck
little
outta here.
Yeah, his little stuffed animal friends.
It's essentially Calvin and Hobbes, but with a bigger cast.
Yeah.
Before Calvin and Hobbes, too.
Yeah.
But Calvin and Hobbes is smarter
And less
than Winnie the Pooh.
I was going to say, and less sarcastic. So.
But no, like
Wait, wow. Did not know that.
yeah.
Mind blown.
Why is Eeyore so depressed?
Well, okay.
'Cause you can't all be winners.
No,
in
there's
life.
also a theory that like
Fair.
every animal is a version of a psychological
Disorder.
disorder. Yeah,
So he would be
depression,
depression.
and like rabbit is
OCD.
OCD,
Tigger's ADD.
ADD. Yeah, apparently all of them are.
or schizophrenia or
Yeah,
something.
Piglet is anxiety.
Okay. What is Pooh?
Eating disorder, maybe?
Yeah, I think
don't
He
know.
just gets at honey, but he's not like. It's not like
He's fat.
Pooh. You got to stop with this honey.
Sometimes. He
yeah,
gets
he gets-
stuck in
He
Rabbit's
literally,
hole.
yeah.
But he needs.
In Rabbit's
But he needs
home
the honey.
hole.
Thanks
And
for
then
clarifying.
Al was narcissism.
Wow.
But anyway, so like
what does that say about?
Okay, this is
What
conspiracy
does that
theory
say
stuff.
about Robin or what's his name?
I think the theory was that like
That he grew up to be.
that he was like the son of a psychiatrist or something, or psychologist. And that's why
deep.
it all manifests like that.
But conspiracy theories.
Oh, I was gonna say he grew up to be James McAvoy in that new movie.
Oh.
So is he in it? Is he in the?
Yes.
What does he do?
I don't know what he's going to do. I mean, I didn't.
No, but what I'm
really-
saying is that
In all the classic stories of Winnie the Pooh, like it's always been just them going on adventures without Christopher Robin.
right. So what does Christopher Robin do?
No, he's sometimes there.
He is every once in a while, but
How
he's
is he there?
Sometimes. It's part
If it's
of...
about his imagination, is he just in it, or is it when he leaves
Yeah,
the
but
room?
he-
You said it's
okay.
when he leaves the room, right?
No, you kept saying
I-
that.
This
I
is
said
Toy
that.
Story.
Oh, did you? Okay.
That was my
Okay.
fault.
This is just him on an
Well,
imagination.
no, there was a TV show on Disney Channel like a long time ago, and it wasn't a live action one, but it had like the stuffed animals in the room, and like in the beginning, I don't know, like after the theme song, like Christopher Robin would like close the door, and then the animals would like come to life and go on adventures.
That's Toy Story.
But that's what happened. But sometimes Christopher Robin's in there, and it's just part of his imagination, and they like go on. Yeah, they go on adventures with him. Think of it as you would like take around your stuffed animal everywhere. I had a stuffed animal I took everywhere. You go on adventures with it. All right.
Not into it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not made for you. It's made for
Everything
children.
is made for me. I am a consumer.
But this is going along the lines of Disney doing
Live action
soon
stuff.
Beauty and the Beast, soon to be Lion King,
But
Winnie the
Beauty
Pooh
and the
is-
Beast looks spot on. Just saying.
Close.
Does anyone else think that that'll get nominated for an Oscar just out of nostalgic facts? Like the first one was nominated for an Oscar, so they'll nominate this one for Best Picture as well.
I mean, it depends how
This one does,
receptive overall.
I would not. If I was part of the Academy, I would not nominate this for Best Picture just based on that trailer.
Really, I like the trailer.
I like the trailer, but I don't feel like it's like Best Picture. You know,
Beast's face doesn't work. Let's just put that out there.
it's very flat.
They couldn't do like the wildebeest face or like whatever animal he is.
It's like a
Yeah.
wildebeest.
There's like they couldn't do that face because I'm for sure it didn't look good on camera, so they made him more humanoid, which actually just then made it look worse because it's kind of like you said, like his entire body had depth except for his face felt like they cropped it out and then put a man's face on it.
But we don't know if you really were cursed and turned from a man into a beast if you would look like that.
Sure we are. We've seen Wolfman.
That's different laws. There was no gypsy
Fair.
curse at the beginning of
Also,
this.
make or break this movie. If they do not play the song where just Gaston runs around being a champion. If they don't play that song, this
Gaston
movie's
song?
garbage.
Yeah, Gaston
I don't know what it's
song.
called. Is
I
this
think-
called
I think
Gaston,
Gaston
song?
song.
If they do play that song, Academy Award.
All right.
Luke Evans dancing around singing that song.
It would be great.
Yup.
I could see that. I bet you they do because Josh Glad's and they show. No, there's like a frame from it.
He's
Of them-
dancing.
Is there?
Yeah, there's like
Yeah.
a frame of them cheersing in the bar or whatever.
I was gonna say, if anything, it might be like a background song that somebody's like
I just
singing or
realized who he's
taunting
playing.
him
That's
with.
great casting.
Yes,
Luke
it is.
Evans?
Yeah.
No, Josh Glad.
Oh yeah.
Playing like that little
LeFou.
LeFou, yeah. This is going to be a good movie. All right, real quick, last headline. Some slight internet news. Netflix just announced that Dave Chappelle will be getting 3 new stand-up comedy specials in the year 2017. So after his Saturday Night Live appearance about, a week ago now?
Yeah.
Yep.
A week ago now. They're signing him, and he's apparently going to do 3 in 1 year, all different straight for Netflix.
I think it'll never be the same. No. As a like I don't to me like Chappelle Show is the limit to what begins for me as far as nostalgia. If that makes any sense.
Yeah,
Like
that makes
that
sense.
year, that time frame, Chappelle Show is like the latest thing in my life that I like look back upon and was like, oh, those were the good old days when Chappelle Show was on.
Did
So-
you watch the episode though?
Yeah,
With Saturday Night Live? I mean, they hinted at a lot of that, especially I think it was the last.
They recurred a lot of the characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
that
watched it.
last
It was
part.
great.
So there's
What?
like nothing pre 2002, 2003 that you enjoy as like
No. What
growing
I'm
up?
saying is it's the closest like anything.
Oh, for you
Anything
being
before,
nostalgic.
anything like 2004, 2005, like beyond that, I don't think is quite ready for nostalgia yet for me. But like Dave Chappelle right now, the
Gotcha.
Chappelle Show is right on the cusp of me being able to look back and be like, simpler times. So maybe in a couple years, things from 2006 or something will be. But right now, that's my threshold.
Gotcha. I was thinking it was the opposite end of that. Like,
No, I don't remember any. There are no good moments.
That's right.
Losers always complain about their best. Winners go home and listen to Three Wise Radio.
the big movie release this past week was Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, based off the, help me out here already,
J.K. Rowling.
J.K. Rowling
I was-
Hogwarts Library textbook.
which was published when?
2001, I think.
Oh, so this is actually like right on par with Sorcerer's Stone when it came out. Like
Yeah.
this was done as
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
compendium.
Wait,
almost.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
it was a few years after.
It might have been like.
It was very
Chamber of
early
Secrets.
2000s. Very early 2000s.
So I remember reading Chamber of Secrets and then reading Fantastic Beasts because I was like, "Oh, basilisks! What the fuck is that?"
Well,
There's a
2001 was the movie that came out, so the books were out in the late 90s. Anyway.
Which would have been why, yeah, when they were pumping them out. I think like the first 3 or 4 were out before the movie
Oh,
came out.
you're
or
saying
something.
Sorcerer's Stone, the book?
Yes.
Or the movie?
The movie was out in 2001.
Yes.
And this and Quidditch Through the Ages is also like the other Hogwarts textbook that she came out with
March 12,
2001.
2001. Look at you.
Okay, so is this
Alright.
strictly animals, or is there
beasts.
any?
It's a
Beasts,
textbook.
Sorry, beasts. Okay,
It's
so
a fake Hogwarts textbook.
it is a fake. So there is no people, no.
No, there is a foreword by Albus Dumbledore.
Okay.
There
Of
is
course
an
there is.
introduction by the author Newt Scamander talking about why this book is important, why it's good for every wizard to have this
Which
book.
is who
kind
Eddie
of thing.
Redmayne plays in.
yeah.
in
It's a little
Yeah.
egotistical.
It is. And well,
This
it-
book that I just wrote, the best book. Everyone
well, there's
should have this
well,
book.
there's one before it too. He makes a note of that.
That he talks about his own book.
No, he makes a note that there were previous versions, but it,
Oh,
because of his discoveries,
He does say he's
they
writing a
approach
book,
it.
So not
So-
just this book is better, but this book is better than the other versions of this book.
Exactly. It's on its 52nd edition, apparently, in this one.
Okay, yeah, and he does mention he's writing a book at the end of the
Yeah,
movie.
it's a
so-
textbook. Consider it a magical creature encyclopedia, so to say.
I mean, if you think about it, on
Like-
Prince,
I think I've actually like zipped through it. I haven't read it,
Yeah.
but I think I've
it's,
like
it's kind of like the Bounty Hunter's Code and the Jedi and Sith Code books that are out.
Yeah.
Kind of
See,
thing.
I'm confused. Like, I'm not confused by it, but like, I'm just astonished that like, if this is that old, like, I had not heard about this till they announced the movie, and then people are like, oh yeah, it's one of these things. But like, all the hardcore Harry Potter fans, like, it was never brought up when like the 6th one was coming out, when 7 Part 1 was coming out, when the 8th one came out. You know, it was never just
well,
never
it's
mentioned.
also, I don't think even
Like even when Lord of the Rings came out,
150
I didn't really know
pages.
Lord of the Rings, but I heard of the Hobbit.
it
I
was.
had read
I mean,
the Hobbit.
it was a small. Well,
But,
the
Three
Hobbit-
chapters.
but you have
3
you heard of the
chapters.
Silmarillion?
I don't know what that is either.
Silmarillion.
The Tolkien Bible.
So don't think of it as like a prequel. Don't think of it as anything.
No.
This is a point one.
Yeah.
This is just a point one issue to these books. They're like, I mean, honestly, it's a cash grab, but
Yeah.
But it's
It is.
But it's not like, oh man, you've got to read this to understand this. It's just like a thing. People like this world, so
It's an
they
extra
expand
fun thing.
it. Yeah.
So, yeah, you get your own Hogwarts textbook, and it even has Harry, Ron, and Hermione's little annotations in here, which are really
those are
funny.
hers? Got it, okay.
Yep,
Cute.
yep. Soup's cute.
Hermione would not do doodles in her book, would she?
But she does it in Harry's book.
Jerk.
All right, so the movie just came out this past weekend, starring Eddie Redmayne.
Eddie Redmayne.
Eddie Redmayne. Sorry, Eddie Redmayne. Maine. Catherine Waterston, Dan Fogler, who I best know from Balls of Fury, and always will.
Damn, he's talented.
Colin Farrell, Ezra Miller, John Voight, and Ron Perlman have little parts in it as well. So
Colin Farrell, he's a handsome man.
He's quite handsome.
Colin
And
Farrell,
he's been consistently handsome for quite some time.
Colin Farrell is the antagonist of the entire movie, and he is best when he is an antagonist.
Because he's sexy.
Except for
He's
in Horrible
alluring.
Bosses.
He's,
We'll go
he's
with
very
alluring.
alluring and powerful. He's got a very
Which is
strong
sexy.
force to him. It's extremely sexy.
Yeah.
So
He's
all
got
right,
the gray, right?
Yeah.
I'm just going to be talking about the dudes in this movie based
fair
on the
enough.
trailer.
Man Crush Monday.
We'll keep the synopsis short, but for Hannah, you're more well versed in Harry Potter. Take us through kind of a quick synopsis of the movie. We're gonna go straight spoiler right off the bat, up until the very end. The very end we'll keep, but straight spoiler right through, because in all honesty, it's like Doctor Strange. I think people that are listening to this cast have already seen it. It's one of those things of like those who, by the time this comes out, who want to see it or care about hearing spoilers have already seen it.
Yeah, true. Okay, so first of all, kind of mentioned before, you have to keep in mind that this is not a prequel, but a side story for the Harry Potter universe. Yeah. So this is completely different. Harry is not involved with it whatsoever, and it's not foreshadowing anything with Harry Potter and his life in general, aside from it being a textbook. So you have your main character, Eddie Redmayne's character, Newt Scamander, and he comes to New York because he's a British wizard, and he has a suitcase full of these magical creatures stored in there. And he's basically a wizard biologist called a magizoologist, so study of magical creatures, and he ends up accidentally letting some loose and getting switched around with another suitcase that looks exactly like his. And the non-magic people, no-mages, as they are called in America, instead of muggles.
Such a terrible.
I mean,
It's very American, though.
yeah,
I liked it.
yeah, a no-mage. There's a big fuss about them knowing about it because there is also a second Salem organization that is onto wizards and trying to hunt them down. So the small wizarding community that we are introduced to in New York is trying to help Eddie Redmayne's character along with this one muggle, or excuse me, no-mage that he befriends to help get back all these creatures and make sure no one else finds out about them. So yeah, that's pretty much a synopsis of the basics. They go through all sorts of weird adventures. You get to see a lot of different creatures, whether they are focused on solely as Newt talks about them, or if it's just kind of glancing at them in the background, because he walks into a suitcase at one point and you get to see this whole magical world.
Little mini zoo.
Yeah, essentially.
Zoo, Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
basically his laboratory is like in the
In the
suitcase.
suitcase, yeah. It is magically charmed, so it's much bigger on the inside.
Can I make a prediction based
Yeah.
on having not seen this movie?
Yeah.
Newt is a quirky genius.
He is.
Shocking.
He is a Hufflepuff also.
Oh, of course he is.
I don't know what
Just
that
a-
means.
Hufflepuff is
House.
seen as the
Hufflepuff house.
lame house. They live right next to the kitchen.
Okay.
They're not.
Which is not lame. That's pretty awesome if you ask
All right.
me. But
Now getting to this, and you guys can correct me as I go. I'll call it correction because my opinion is based solely on just seeing this film. To stipulate, I've only seen all the films once, except the fifth one I've seen multiple times,
Hundreds of times.
hundreds of times.
because of HBO.
Exactly, as I've told you. Which I also didn't realize was the first one David Yates did, who did this one as well. So he started to do them finally when they got a little bit darker.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, that being said, I had two problems with this film. First off, I did enjoy it more than I thought I was going to. I am actually legitimately curious to see what happens next. Okay. I don't want to see it again in theaters. I'm not going to turn it on, but if someone has it on in the room, I'll sit down and I'll watch it.
That is not high praise.
That is high praise for me. Like, think about all
I will not go out of my way, but should I be thrown into a situation where it would be rude of me to ask them to change it, I will not.
Just sit there with your arms crossed and deal with it.
I have movies where I would.
I begrudgingly accept how great this movie is.
No, like because there's moments that I really enjoyed, but as a whole, like it like lacks a little bit in certain areas, which I'll get to. The first half of this movie, in my personal opinion, as a Star Wars fan and not really that much of a Harry Potter fan, is basically you could title it C-3PO and R2-D2 hunt down an Ewok and a Bothan. That is basically the first half of this movie.
I mean,
might be a stretch, but yeah, sure. I don't know.
I don't know.
I haven't seen it.
Okay, because like Eddie Redmayne's kind of this. He's too awkward. I was still getting like vibes of like Stephen Hawking.
In an interview,
He
he said
is
he played
supposed
him
to.
like somewhat almost autistic.
Like on the spectrum?
Yeah. Like he like Eddie Redmayne admitted he's like he's not the most social.
but that's the
character,
point,
you know, like,
though, because
Okay.
he is one of the first wizards who goes out of his way to search for all these magical creatures, many of which are extremely dangerous or very hard to locate. So that's his profession. So he's not around a lot of people. He focuses on these magical creatures. So again, think of it as like a biologist spending all of their time out in the wilderness, focusing on this one animal, and it might be potentially dangerous for them and they might not have any more human contact for a really long time. So that's what he does. So yeah, he is really awkward.
Is there a very somber or powerful scene where he talks about, or someone talks about him, that he better understands and gets along with creatures rather than other people?
No.
A little. Not. He doesn't really talk about it, but I think you can see that as he's showing Jacob, who is his nomad sidekick, all these magical things, because as a nomad, he's never seen them before, and he kind of thinks like he's going crazy at first. But as he starts helping Newt find all these animals, or creatures, I guess I should say, and seeing them for the first time, and some of them are really weird and they are really scary, so most people, and wizards too, would probably
Be like,
be
ugh.
very, very scared and alarmed, but he just has like this calming allure about him where he can, at one point, there's a Thunderbird, which looks like a giant griffin, essentially, and it's very powerful, it's very scary, it controls the weather, and he just kind of like steps up and is like, oh, hey.
Pets it.
Yeah, pets it, but like, if another wizard would have done that, it would have been like, oh my gosh, stay back, sort of thing.
Is it a Zapdos, essentially?
Essentially,
It looks like a griffin.
Zapdos with that looks like a regular eagle
Bird.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was just a little much off the bat for me because one, I know his range is better than that. There's a movie called Hick where he's kind of like a minor villain in it, and he just basically plays like this rapist, like this child molester.
Jesus.
And he's really good in that, and like he shows a more sinister point. Now I know he's playing the good guy and everything else, but
Yeah.
it was too much. I guess like I saw just too much of Stephen Hawking in him when I was doing it because like that
I can
to
see
me
that because I saw
that's
very of everything.
what he's known for. That's what he won for. Like that was everything. So
Yeah. But at the same time, again, his profession, because it even mentions too, and of course, you wouldn't know this unless you're into the Harry
realm.
Potter universe. But he works at the Ministry of Magic for a while, and again, just doesn't do very well at his job because he doesn't like interacting with people. So that's why he goes off and looks for all these creatures. So again, it's more backstory that you probably would have to know a little bit about, but I mean, you can tell he's awkward from
correct.
the beginning.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Don't forget Eddie Redmayne was in the classically overlooked. He was the villain in Jupiter Ascending.
I still need to watch that movie.
Let's never forget the guy in Danish Girl, also in Jupiter Ascending.
I did forget that. Thank you for reminding us, Sam. That's why you're here.
I'm trying to remind the world. No one's perfect, guys.
He's also kind of awkward in My Week with Marilyn. I don't know if you guys have
I've seen that. Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, not as bad, but still, he's very, very shy, doesn't really know how to handle himself through, like, serious situations. He just kind of, like, freezes up.
Could you understand what he was saying throughout
Yes.
the movie?
Yeah.
Yes.
There was some, like, whenever he was saying the word, like, the names of some of the creatures, it was kind of
Mumbly,
garbled,
mumbly.
but, like, most of the time you could understand what he was saying.
The other problem I had with
I was
it-
going to say,
sorry.
number 2.
Yeah, the second one is the reason I like the fifth one a lot is because I always tell people, in my opinion, it's more the empire of the series, of the original series.
Mm-hmm.
It tells a complete story, but leaves it in this very dark place, and it takes out all the kiddie crap that we had to deal with off and on for the first 4 films and gets more serious. Here, there are no children really. I mean, there are, but there are no that are really the focus point of this film from start to finish. And yet we have scenes that just are there to, like, it looks like still to rope in a 10-year-old. And I get it. Harry Potter's for the entire family. But it was one of those things where it's like there's so much potential here with the actual story they're telling. And there were scenes that were so great that you go from like this kiddish scene to something that almost once in a while could be depicted out of a horror movie with a couple of tones on certain scenes. And it was like, I just couldn't wait to get through those scenes to get back to what was going on and the actual story at hand. Not the collecting of the beasts and everything else, but Colin Farrell's character.
Yeah.
And
Secondary plot, you wanted it to be the primary plot.
I would actually call it the primary plot.
I think part of that also is it's not just patronizing 2 10-year-olds, but they are also, not sadly, but there's enough of an audience group that has all read these books that you're not just shooting for 10-year-olds, but you're shooting for the 10-year-olds that we were when we were reading it. So, like, for those of us that have read the books when they were kids, like, that's what we were looking for, is that kind of mysticism that, like, you want to be like the nomads that's like, oh, wow, look at this, pretty. Yeah. So that's, I think that I would assume that's what they're shooting for, is just kind of that sense of wonder that is childlike.
Well, and I've heard people say that too. Like the group that we went the other night to go see the movie, they said it wasn't as, like, I guess, Hogwartsy, you know, where it's warm and loving and magical. I know, and
Sorry.
that's the point.
My personal opinion.
No, and that's the point too. Is that, like, even though magic, it is this awing thing, it also can be very dark and dangerous, as we see, because there are good wizards and bad wizards out there, and things can go terribly wrong.
Yeah, and so it was one of those things of just, yeah, it kind of like, I feel like if it was not a Harry Potter film, we would be critiquing it on the structure of the flow, not knowing what type of movie it wanted to be. But because it's based in a world that did this, in my opinion, really well over 7 films, it's like kind of take that aspect out of it. And it's one of the things I've always praised the series for, is it gets away with it in a place where there's at least the one where they're chasing down the mystical rhino, as I'll call it.
Yeah, essentially.
That just, it went on a little bit too long for me and just didn't, and it was just like that comical scene in a Marvel movie almost. That's like, I didn't
Gotta be
need
funny.
it. I didn't need it at that point. There was other stuff I was more invested in and wanting to
I feel
get
like
to.
the comedy was very organic in this one, though. You said the gotta be funny, forced comedy. You know, like, it was very organic. Like, it didn't go on too long. It fit in perfectly, more or less, with
everything except
everything.
we could all tell
But
he's
that
going to
one-
accidentally spill pheromones on himself. Like,
nice.
we all saw where that was going.
But then also that kind of goes against what Joe was saying. Like, it's not like jokes were planted in, but like that scene to you felt clearly like, we got to put something funny in here. We got to break it up. So let's just throw this in here, even though it has no real relevance. Is that kind of what you're saying?
No, it still has a little relevance, but it could have been much shorter, in my opinion.
Okay.
Is what it was. But like I said, that's going from someone, like I said, because everything I was invested in was with Colin Farrell and Ezra Miller's character. Everything I was invested in that. And actually, I'll say it, you're going to hate me for it, Ezra Miller killed it. He, I thought, was the best part of this entire movie.
He's a good actor. He just looks like a douche.
No, but he looks like a douche for a reason. Like,
No, I mean all the time.
oh, gotcha. Okay.
He's just such a dweeby guy.
But that's the point of this entire film.
No,
So-
I'm also talking in general. Like,
Okay.
He doesn't need to do a thing.
He's been
Just
getting
be
interviewed
himself.
so much about this movie, and it's like, he's not really in the movie that much.
But is he?
No.
All right. So
All right, let's
we're
get to the where it transitions from gotta find these critters to the bigger.
okay. So for that, we actually have to kind of start to get into the spoilerish area. And like I said, you've already seen the movie if you're listening to this, probably, or you just don't care if you're listening to this, probably.
Guilty as charged.
It's split into 2 things. So the entire time, Colin Farrell, who's kind of like J. Edgar Hoover of the magical world in America, is secretly using Ezra Miller's character, who's like the adopted oldest son of the lady who's leading the
Salem.
Second Salem witch hunt.
Right.
witch hunt. and he's using him to try and find this abstract. What would they call it?
Obscurus or an obscurial.
Obscurial.
They use both terms in the movie.
Which is like just this repressed magic
Creature.
from a child that manifests itself into like its own thing.
And it's
can
very
wreak havoc.
dangerous.
Ooh.
Very, very dangerous.
Like no, there's
It
some
has to be a creature so that Eddie Redmayne.
It's not necessarily a creature. Like, it's just a force, kind of.
But yes, Eddie Redmayne has captured one and was studying it.
Ah. So it's an entity.
Yeah.
Yes.
There we go. It's a better word for it.
Vocabulary.
So, and that's why I said I was really enthralled by all those scenes, because a lot of those scenes with Ezra Miller, especially with his mom, was very, not only Victorian, but it brought back like a lot of like what you would see in the Salem witch trials. And one of the things that was missing, in my personal opinion, because it was all focused on Harry Potter from the originals, is if humans do know about this to a certain extent, like there should still be that fear, like mutants and everything else. So they are more powerful than us. They are everything than us. So it was one of those things of like this little group that knew, looked crazy, and was trying to come out, but she did it in such a like old-fashioned way where like she would make him take off his belt and then she'd beat him with his own belt, like, and leave scars on him and everything else. And it was done and filmed in such a, just like, you could see this kid dying and like becoming one of those ghosts that just haunts that house forever. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you hear the horror stories of how he lived as a child.
Is he magical?
All right, so getting to the spoilers.
Yes!
That's the thing. They do a very good twist because I didn't think he was going to be.
I did.
You wouldn't if you saw the film. You would think so. You would think something else. They do a very good job into thinking that it's going to be his sister. Trust me.
Yeah.
I'm very
We'll go
talented.
see it.
Well, it's too late now.
It's okay. You'll still be wowed.
I'll still be like, nope, I don't believe you guys. It's the sister.
Trust me. So they do a very good job of that. And actually, like the twist when you find out it's him is really, really good. Like it kind of goes 180 and makes the film just like, I mean, from there, like I thought everything was great. Like from there on out, like there was a lot more to the final battle than some of the other Harry Potter films that have you seen in the past. Like you had the Ministry of Defense. I don't know if that's what they were called in this or not.
They were the magical, Magical Congress of America, or the Magical Congress of the United States of America, MACUSA.
Okay, so
Yes.
The acronym.
Yes.
which I like because it kind of almost sounds almost like,
Muscoozy.
I was going to be like, it kind of almost is like a Gestapo, like you're trying to not let everything get out and everything else. So, because you don't really know who's going to be the good guy and the bad guy, but they want to protect everything and kind of keep everything in and not let people know. So they're putting up barriers, trying to like not let people
Trying to be
know.
real low-key.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's just everything's blowing up around them, and it's, like I said, it's really a great climax, which leads to the other twist that everyone knows at this point is not really going to be a twist because no one could keep their mouth shut apparently on the press tour.
I still have no idea what you're talking about.
Let's stay quiet about it.
Really?
Nah.
Because I was one thing I want to talk about because that was the most backlash I heard on Twitter. Everyone was
People
like,
didn't like it.
movie was great, didn't like that ending. That ending ruined it for me. That person ruined it for me.
Was it that the no-mage that he was hanging out with did something?
No.
No.
Damn it.
He had nothing to do with it.
No.
Oh.
So if you don't want to talk about it, we won't.
I don't want to talk about it just because like
But I want to get
It is
your
a plot twist.
I want to get your vague opinion on it because
you can talk
like
about
like
it.
I said, like yeah, I think we
We've
can
been
talk
doing
about
spoilers
it.
this whole time.
We do spoilers
Fine.
on every time. Vader is Luke's father. Everyone knows this by
fine.
now.
It turns out
Voldemort.
that
No.
Colin Farrell's character is actually Grindelwald in disguise.
Do you know
Grindelwald
who-
played by Johnny Depp, and that's it.
Do you know who Grindelwald is?
Yeah, no, Grindelwald is. Wait, does Johnny Depp make an appearance?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, so he goes. Swip, 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 swip.
But he looks goofy as
Okay, so it
Around
did
drunkenly.
you guys didn't like it
No.
either.
because
Because so many
I
times
was
I heard, loved everything, hated Johnny Depp.
Go
I
ahead, because you saw it, but I have an opinion on it.
I mean, I feel like his look fits the era. However, it's very different than anything we've seen Johnny Depp look like ever before. But also, too, the image that I had in my head was what they showed in Deathly Hallows Part 1, where he is...
blonde hair.
Yeah, he almost kind of looks like Xenophilius Lovegood in a way, like from the movie, where he has long, kind of wispy blonde hair. And you only see him for like 2 seconds in the movie. He like steals a wand and jumps out the window and like it's a flashback scene. But that's what I was expecting more, and yeah, he just looks odd.
It's very interesting, yeah.
I mean, it doesn't look bad, but it's not what I was expecting, and I think that was kind of disappointing for me.
Okay. Like I said, like that to me didn't do one thing or the other. I understand it, I guess. And then
Yeah.
they talked about it. They're like, we needed a name. I don't know why they feel like they need a name, but
Wait, people were complaining that he needs a name?
no. People were complaining that was Johnny Depp because producers actually came out and said, we know Depp's a great actor and we needed another name.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I just wanted to get, because like that like didn't do anything for me. Like I knew that was the twist based on all the stuff I'd been reading beforehand. Like we knew that's who he was playing. We knew that things were coming. I didn't think like he was just gonna like step out of the shadows and be like, aha, I'm here.
So you know what my issue is with this? Is that it's kind of what you said, where like this has nothing to do with Harry Potter. This is a total departure. But at the very end, you bring him in and have him be a part of it, which leads to Dumbledore being a part of it, which leads to Newt being somewhat involved in the lead up to what happens in Harry Potter, making this a prequel to Harry Potter.
Not
If
really.
that is what that is, if that's the thing, if Grindelwald shows up and has some kind of and starts to do something, and there's 5 movies, that is the trajectory of these films.
Hannah,
that is what this is.
I mean, it's a Harry Potter universe, but it doesn't have a direct effect on Harry per se. It's more of what would be a Dumbledore backstory movie.
But I think it'll be. My concern is that it will be.
Okay, well here's a good question. Would you call a comic book based around Thomas Wayne a Batman story?
I would say
A Batman prequel. Would you call a comic based around Thomas Wayne a Batman prequel? Because I think it's fair to say that like Dumbledore is like a kind of a father figure to Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Sure.
Throughout the series.
Sure. I think my issue with it is that if I think that's more complicated because like the Harry Potter.
Well, Hannah found an article today or yesterday saying that like the J.K. Rowling came out and saying that the 5 movies are going to take place from 1926, which was when this one was, all the way up to 1945.
Because he's apparently supposed to make a truce with Hitler, from what I hear.
45 is when the whole Grindelwald Dumbledore fight goes down, and that's like 10 years before Voldemort's born. Because Harry's not born till like 89, I think was what it was. What was it? Late 80s, early 90s.
No, he's not born in the early 90s.
If
He went to
that's the
school in the
track,
early 90s.
If that's the track and it focuses on
Those movies weren't modern
their-
day?
No.
Oh.
They're supposed to be set in the 90s. The
Didn't
books
get
are.
that at
The
all.
books are.
Okay.
The books
Well,
are.
the books would be modern day because they came out
In the 90s.
in the 90s. So,
Yeah.
yes.
She wrote them in the 90s.
Right.
So.
If that's the track that they take, and it is we're telling the story of what drove these people apart, culminating in a battle that we already know the end to. Sure, that's fine. As long as it doesn't start to delve, and it's not so much delving on their relationship and the thing that breaks them apart, and starts delving into other things like I can't articulate into words what I'm worried about, but you kind of understand what my fear is, that it starts to become too much. There's a lot of nodding, a lot of winking happening.
Starts
oh my
bleeding
gosh.
into the main universe starts bleeding into this.
Yeah, with too many references. Like in the next movie, it'll just be like 3 little references to things that might come, and then in the movie after that, it starts to get worse and worse and worse until you culminate in something that's like The Boy Who Lived. There it is.
I mean, you have to also realize that, again, this is not a story that was pre-written, so we don't have any expectations to look forward to. We have lots of little backstories here and there, and again, everything kind of comes together, but it's not necessarily all these events are directly going to be like, oh, here's Harry Potter. And they might end up doing a little bit of Voldemort foreshadowing in there, and he might make an appearance. I don't know, because he's at Hogwarts by the time that the battle between Dumbledore and Grindelwald happens, so it's a good possibility, but I don't think it's going to go directly into Harry Potter
Then that'll be fine.
Yeah.
I think that'll be really cool. I mean, you'll get into a classic like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Xavier, Magneto, kind of 2 ideals. And if you focus on that, totally cool. I'm totally on board. I think it'll be great.
Yeah. Because
Don't
there
go down the
also
other road.
because there's also a lot of tie-ins too. Like the wizarding community is a lot smaller than people think too. Just like again, so even though this is not for like it going directly into Harry Potter, just like a random fun fact. So Luna Lovegood, who is Harry Potter's weird, quirky friend, is the great-granddaughter of Newt Scamander. Like, just a coincidence kind of thing, as J.K. Rowling wrote it. But it's not saying that, like, oh, she's going to be the next Newt Scamander kind of thing.
Right, and that's fine.
Yeah.
As long as the movie just doesn't vomit it all over me saying, like, hey, Luna Lovegood's coming. in 50 years, be ready. That's fine. That's totally cool.
They might hint at it a little bit of stuff because, again, she's still writing stories, and this is not a story that we can base anything on.
Yeah.
Just a textbook.
Last question from me.
Yes.
Does a wizard get shot with a Thompson?
No.
Oh, son of a bitch! Do they shoot him?
There are no guns.
Yeah, there
What?
are.
There's guns in the trailer.
There's guns, but they don't really fire them.
Yeah.
They do it one scene.
Okay.
Well,
Oh.
that doesn't count.
Yeah.
Because Thompson's beat wands.
I was wanting that to happen too.
Yeah.
Did not though.
My mom says I shouldn't listen to Three Lives Radio, but I do it anyways.
With Thanksgiving coming up this Thursday and probably people celebrating it more than once or on more than one day over the coming weekend, we thought we'd take a look at some of our guilty pleasures because chances are you'll be doing a couple of them this weekend, whether it's binge watching football, binge drinking, or also, hey, that's a thing around Thanksgiving.
It
This
is.
is definitely a thing, sometimes out of necessity.
Yeah.
Or if it's just, binge eating and eating too much food, chances are you're taking in more than one guilty pleasure. So we thought we'd take a look at some of our guilty pleasures, and this is more along the lines of like TV.
TV and entertainment.
Yeah, TV and entertainment. So we took some clips from some of our friends as well, so we'll delve into their guilty pleasures in just a second. But what are some of your guilty pleasures?
Do we want to go by... I pulled some movies and I pulled some TV. Do we want to go by movies first? Or just kind of whatever?
We can go by movies.
We can go by
first.
movies first. If you want to categorize it, I don't know the sound clips. I've yet to listen to them, so I'm going to be
no
just
idea.
surprised as you are.
Okay.
So we'll go to the sound clips later.
Okay.
But for us, we'll do categories.
All right. Anybody want to say one?
Since
Don't
you
feel guilty?
Since you brought it up, I thought you could start.
Oh, yeah. No, I'll totally start.
He has a list and everything.
I just jotted down some notes. So one that's for me, I love those movies. I have a guilty pleasure of just those movies that aren't good, but they're just good enough that when they're on, you'll watch them a few times. Like, for instance, I think the best example of this that I could possibly think of is the fight movie Never Back Down. Has everyone seen this movie?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
You haven't
based-
seen Never Back Down? Jamon Hansu's in it.
You need to. It's if the CW got a lot of money and made a motion picture. It's awesome.
It's rough.
Aquawoman's in it.
Amber Heard. Yeah,
Amber Heard's in it. And it's just about this kid that, he had a rough upbringing, and his dad was in a car accident that might have been his fault, so his outlet is just punching things. But then
All
he
the
finds
things.
Jamon Hansu, or however you pronounce his first name, and, and he centers himself, and he actually learns something about himself, too, in the making. It's powerful. But that's just a movie that, it's not good.
Right.
It's not good. It'll never be good. But for some reason, I love that movie.
All right.
So that's kind of my spectrum.
Right, and we stipulated off air, I believe, that guilty pleasure can't be something that's like a cult classic or something. I think, right? Like we said, like it couldn't be. I think the example Sam uses, I couldn't say Buffy when it came to
No, you
television.
can't
shows.
say Buffy because then people are gonna be like, "Oh my god, me too. That's crazy. We both like Buffy." Yeah, most people like Buffy. Few people watch Buffy and are like, "Nah, I don't like that."
Yeah.
So you can't use that.
I'm not
joke.
using that. I'm just saying, like going along the stuff of.
The two that I had that were closest to that,
Mm-hmm.
because I think they're kind of in the exact same spectrum, and I'm not sure if they work. League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Oh,
and
so
Van
good.
Helsing.
Both so
I
good.
Movies
think
like
people
that.
think though that some people think that those are good movies
Do some people think that those? Because I think they're majority panned as being
by
not
critics.
No, they're not good movies at all, but they're great movies.
One of those is a great movie. The other one has Hugh Jackman, and that's enough.
Yeah.
Good. Hugh Jackman is enough.
I was going to say, what else do you need?
Kate Beckinsale, and that puts it over the top.
There it is. So that's kind of my spectrum. I have one more that is my big time guilty pleasure movie, but I'll save it for if we want to circle back.
Okay, well, since you went into the realm of horror, my guilty pleasure movie is I had to go out and buy this because I could never find it every Halloween,
Passion.
but wanted to watch it so bad. House on Haunted Hill, the remake from 1999, the one that stars
That's a guilty pleasure. The remake of it, yes.
Jeffrey Rush, Femke Jensen, Chris Kattan
What a cat.
in a great role, Tay Diggs. This movie, I love this movie. It is fantastic. So good. Right. Also, I'm going to tie it back into the Buffy universe, a minor role with James Marsters, who played Spike on Buffy. So, that movie is fantastic.
What a cast.
My guilty pleasures, in terms of movies, I guess would have to say those really bad horror movies. So like Thanksgiving,
Zombievers.
Just
Okay.
it's so bad, but it's just like I've got to keep watching this. I have to.
Close to cult, but I'll take it.
Or again, just bad comic book movies. The Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. But
I would have
really-
accepted
but really,
Steel. I was waiting for Steel to come out your mouth or something like
Steel.
that.
Yes. The Spirit.
Oh, I love The Spirit.
That movie
That's
was
a guilty
awful.
pleasure, 'cause that movie is not good.
That movie is great.
No, that movie has Eva Mendes's Tushy in it.
That movie is great.
I remember seeing the trailer for that movie. I was like, oh man,
Directed by Frank Miller. How can
Frank
this
Miller,
go wrong?
Sammy J, Eva Mendes. What? This is gonna be great. And I went and saw it and I was like, this is awful. But
you
I want to
watched
watch it again.
Anna, any guilty pleasures? In
Um,
the cinematic universe?
I would say I have a handful of movies that I really like that are just the movies that are funny because they're so stupid. Like Nacho Libre is
say
one of my favorite movies.
I would say it's a guilty pleasure.
And again, it's so dumb and not a very good plot, and obviously it's very offensive to anybody who's Hispanic, but it is so funny. So yeah, anything like that, or like Hot Rod. I love Hot
That's
Rod.
great. I think that's totally fair. That's like, I think a guilty pleasure now. If you said Napoleon Dynamite, but you said oh, I still watch it. That's a guilty pleasure.
I haven't watched it since middle school, but if I did now, I'd be like, this is
Still
awfully
are-
great.
Could you imagine if today you put it in and you're like, still a fucking masterpiece?
I'd still hate it.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
with
that's what
you.
I said. I would probably watch it and be like, this is awfully great. Like,
Okay.
I would be able
In
to
the worst way
appreciate the jokes,
possible.
but I would still be like, I can't stand this movie.
yeah, it's cringeworthy funny.
So what's the big one you're holding back?
So this is because when I was young, I related to this character. Not so much I related to him. I just looked exactly like him when I was a kid. He's the side character in the made-for-TV movie, the Lizzie McGuire movie.
Gordo?
Gordo.
Yeah.
Wasn't that released in theaters?
I don't know.
No, it was released in theaters.
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, boom, even better. Theatrical release. But I looked just like that dude when I was younger and had a froey hair thing going
I
on.
can 100% believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gordo.
But I love that. She goes to Rome.
Yeah.
Yep.
She goes on an adventure.
Meets
she
a pop star that
reconnects-
looks just like her.
just like her. That part not so much, but she reconnects with her old friend who turns out to be good again. Ethan Kraft still just existing in that world.
Yeah.
And then at the
The
very
world
end,
can't exist without an Ethan Kraft in
so
the
true.
world. Like,
at the very
seriously.
end, they finally connect, and it's a beautiful thing.
And then the series is done.
And then that's it for the series.
Yep.
Who knows? I mean, if that's so Raven can get, oh my goodness.
What the hell was that?
I think that was a sneeze / hack from Lando.
He's sneezing.
He's
a
tearing
sneeze.
up because of the plot of the.
I was gonna say that's Lando's guilty pleasure is sneezing.
If they can bring back That's So Raven into a show,
They can bring
they
back
can bring back
McGuire.
Liz McGuire.
Oh, easily.
But she's
I
on the TV
feel-
Land show.
Yeah, it's fine.
I feel like she would be down to do like an episode.
Yeah.
An episode or two.
Like a Netflix Gilmore Girls type deal thing going
Yeah.
on there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Still so excited for that.
Oh, it comes out this week.
I'm
Is that a
excited
guilty
for.
pleasure?
I'm excited for people to watch it. I'm not going to watch it, but I'm excited for fans of the show to enjoy it.
Good. All right, let's spit. Then great segue. Let's go into TV.
Bam!
Let's go into TV. I've got a witness here that proves that my TV is a guilty pleasure because he hates this with a passion.
Oh.
But my guilty pleasure for TV, Teen Titans Go.
Oh, that show's awful.
I will sit on Cartoon Network for hours at a time and just let that play
You're
in
the
the
reason why
background.
that show's still on.
Yeah, because it's funny. It's Warner Brothers
Might be starting
Animation.
A battle there.
It's Warner Brothers Animation at its best.
It's at its worst.
No, it's at its best. No, it is the only show that still has that Animaniacs, Freakazoid, classic, we're gonna poke fun at pop culture. Only it is DC Comics oriented. There are some jokes in there that unless you know DC Comics hardcore, you're not laughing at.
Oh, I get that. So that's good. When I look at the actual animation, though, I feel like that cartoon, they're all standing still the whole time in that.
No, that's way better animation than half the stuff on Adult Swim.
But compared to old Teen Titans,
I never watched it. That was one of the things. Yeah, I never
So
watched
good.
it.
That's why.
So
that explains so
good.
much.
Fight about it.
God.
It was a guilty pleasure. That's what I said. It's
okay,
a guilty pleasure.
well, we need to find a way for you to watch old Teen Titans, and it's going to change your world, but whatever.
All right.
I'll let you have your
Aren't
fun
they
for
bringing
now.
that back
Thank
for
you.
another season or something like
The
that?
Young Justice.
Oh, Young Justice.
Now that I've seen.
Nuts. Garrett?
All right.
I have the same thing again. I have 2, and then I have my big one.
I'll let you go because I forgot what mine was.
Damn it, Garrett.
Sorry.
The 2 big that are my guilty pleasures, I think they're still popular shows, but
Oh, I've got another guilty pleasure.
they're
by the
ones
way,
that I like. If I'm watching it and somebody will come in, I'll just be like, minimize, it's fine, I'm not watching this. The first one, Bones. It's a very popular show, but I'm not happy that I watch it.
but- Wait,
Is
how
it
come your
still
David
on?
Boreanaz show counts but mine doesn't?
It's not, it is still on.
Yeah.
It's in its last season coming up.
Season 12.
Yeah.
It's
Because
only
it is-
season 12. I feel like it's been on since
Feels that
Debuted
way,
the
doesn't
same
it?
year as Supernatural.
forever.
Yeah.
It just
Supernatural's going to beat it.
Oh, yes, it is.
Oh,
Because they started
boy.
out younger.
yeah.
Yeah. So not a guilty pleasure?
I would
Not
say
for
now.
most people,
No,
but for
I would say
me.
now. 5 years
Here's
ago, no, but I'd say now it is.
yeah.
'cause I
The
think
fact
a
that
lot
you
of
are
people
still
have jumped.
Because
dedicatingly watching.
he begrudgingly watches it, whereas you willingly are like super excited about watching Buffy.
That's fair.
Okay.
It's the attitude about how you go. It's like,
Oh, so True Blood was a guilty pleasure of mine. I hated that show the last 2 seasons,
Till
but
the
god
end, it
damn
was-
it, I
till-
had to watch it through the end.
yeah.
I would say a guilty no, then maybe it's not a guilty pleasure for me, because I would say guilty pleasure for you is if you're like True Blood, still awesome. Those last 2 seasons were awesome. I loved them.
Oh, they were not.
So I guess technically it's not a guilty pleasure for me. Whoops. The other one that I had was the TV show Chuck. If anybody watched Chuck,
Never
Seen
seen, it,
episodes.
but I
it's
heard
not a
about
great
it.
TV show, but I thoroughly enjoyed it for the 3 seasons that it had.
Hannah, any television guilty pleasures?
I feel like the reasons why this is my guilty pleasure goes for that, like, I don't want to watch it, but I keep doing it because personally I think the plot is not very good and I don't like the acting. But it does have a big cult following now, as Once Upon a Time.
I wanted to watch that very
No,
early
Garrett's
on.
watched little episodes here and there with me, and you can
And it's real
vouch.
good.
The acting is atrocious.
Yeah, the acting's really bad. The plot like keeps repeating itself in not good ways. And I've kind of backed off from it a little bit, but I get on these kicks where I just want to keep watching it and I can't stop watching it. So yeah, that would be my guilty pleasure show, even though, like I said, it has a cult following, but I'm never like,
No, but
oh my
I would
gosh,
admit
Once
that.
Upon a Time.
I
But
don't.
it's
I don't hear people say it. I think that's one of those things. They're held back on it.
I think
I would
Yeah.
admit
people
that.
only like that show, and maybe it is kind of what you're going through. Is people love that show because they love its core concept, not the way
Yeah.
it's executed, but they love the ideas of fairy tales put into the real world.
Yeah.
This could be so awesome. I wish you were more awesome. Maybe if I watch you, you'll be more awesome next time.
Yeah, that's basically it, because there's so many plot holes. Like, the characters can't leave this little magical town that they're permanently stuck
What's
in.
the
But then
town
there's
called?
other Storybrooke.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, because like storybook.
Right.
But like one big major plot flaw that I was like, okay, so we're just like gonna ignore that, no big deal. They can't leave the town, so I'm like, how do people get mail? And how do they get groceries and stuff? Why is there an insane asylum in a town of like 100 people? Like, that's not possible. Also, somebody is waiting for a bus. Like, one of the main characters in season 1's like, I'm gonna leave this town and take a bus out of here. It's like, when is that bus coming and how are you gonna get out of here? And like, can you even leave if
Or
that
what
bus
happened?
comes?
Maybe it's like Cabin in the Woods things where they leave and then just splat.
I mean, maybe, because supposedly, like, up until the main character gets in the town, like, no strangers have ever came in
So
the town
everyone
before.
in the town is a
As a local.
story.
Yeah, they get like brainwashed, but like all sorts of like plot holes.
Wait, they
that
get
are-
brainwashed? Are they not really in the story?
No, they are.
Wait, what's this?
They are, but they aren't.
Okay.
Maybe you should start watching it and find out, and it will soon become your guilty pleasure too.
All right. So
Anyway.
all right. You have a big one coming up. I'll throw one more out there because if it was still on to this day, I know I'd watch it. Lois and Clark.
Yeah, that's a guilty pleasure for you because you like it so much.
I do.
It's
I
so
really do like that.
Not
show.
that good.
It's not, but it is great.
No, you definitely get the nod.
What?
This show is still on, and I'll give this a nod to my brother because we will still watch this show whenever it is on. The 4th hour block of the Today Show, starring Kathy Lee and Hoda.
guilty pleasure.
That is a damn. Those girls get at it. It's Wine Wednesday. Oh, it's
they're-
Thirsty Thursday. Oh, they're just drinking wine at 10 a.m. every day.
You don't do that?
Not every day.
Missing out.
All right, we're gonna go. But do you have any like one thing that's a guilty pleasure? Like maybe it's like a book or something else. I'll give you mine. For some reason, anything that Johnny Lee Miller's in, the actor, I have to watch. That's a guilty pleasure, I think. Like he's the sole reason I watch Elementary still. The guy who plays Sherlock Holmes on Elementary.
Okay.
Dracula 2000. He's in that movie. Gerard Butler's great
Well,
too.
you watch that for so many more reasons.
True, but he's in that. I love that.
That is him.
Yep.
Nice.
Hackers. Love that movie. He's the lead in that as well.
That movie.
Train Spotting, watched it because he was in that movie. I love that movie. Like I go out of my way to watch things
Look
he's
at
in.
that. What was your first?
Introduction to him?
Yeah.
Hackers.
Nice. Oh, I can't think of something off the top of my head that's just like a legit guilty pleasure.
Yeah, I can't either.
All right, well, we'll
My
get
current guilty pleasure right now is buying a bag of those frosted donuts. Not the sleeve, a bag, and I eat them. All of them in a night. I did it yesterday.
Me and Jolly Rancher Chews.
There you go.
The
There
ones
you
that
go.
are kind of like Starburst. Oof.
We can't talk about it anymore though.
Oof.
My guilty pleasure is
Exercise.
Totino's tortilla chips, or not Totino's.
pizza rolls.
No,
The
it's
nacho pizza rolls.
Tostitos.
Tostitos. Sorry.
Oh, Tostitos.
Tostitos tortilla chips with hint of lime.
Okay.
Like, I get that. That bag is gone within the hour.
And
Alright.
cats.
Okay, so here's some of our friends' guilty pleasures from.
What's your guilty pleasure movie?
Guilty pleasure movie is Pacific Rim because it's like the best, worst action movie ever, and I'm almost ashamed of how much I love it.
All right. What's your favorite or guilty pleasure TV show?
TV show is Ballers because I don't think
Yeah,
the
you
show
can
is
talk.
necessarily that great. I just love Dwayne
Yeah, we're
The Rock
still live.
Johnson and Money
Pacific
and
Rim does
Hot
not
Girls
count. That's a
and
great movie.
that produces that for me.
That's a great
Alright.
fucking movie.
I wouldn't say Pacific Rim. Yeah, you can talk over these.
Good. It's a great movie.
That was
It should
Joe.
Be defended.
Yeah, no, Pacific Rim's fine. I think more people like it than dislike it. I don't know if I call that a guilty pleasure. Ballers, I call it guilty pleasure, possibly.
Yeah.
You don't want to admit it's like
Entourage.
That's
Entourage
right. Yeah,
is a guilty pleasure.
those are things that guys like that you don't ever really want to admit you like.
Yeah. Unless you're
like-
in a room with all guys and they're secretly
Right.
like, yo, dude, turn on Entourage.
Because everyone you like them for all the wrong reasons.
Yep.
Here's Colin's guilty pleasure.
What's your guilty pleasure movie?
My guilty pleasure movie is A League of Their Own.
Why?
Because it's so funny. I love, like, I think Rosie O'Donnell is hilarious, and Tom Hanks is funny. Like, to me, that movie is a complete comedy, and every time it's on TBS or FX, I watch it, even with the commercials.
All right.
Even with
What's
the
your
I'd call that a guilty pleasure though.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're that into
definitely
it.
Top Gear. I
Okay.
don't watch a lot of TV shows, but in its heyday, I watched Top Gear every single moment that I could. Got home,
Top
would
Gear.
watch it.
Top Gear. Oh, that's not a guilty pleasure.
Those
It's one of the
guys,
most
that
popular
trio,
shows
man,
in the world.
That trifecta was,
But for someone
Hilarious.
like Colin?
and I learned a lot
I
about
guess.
cars. I even got into motorsports just because of that show. So.
So those were Colin's.
Okay.
All right, I'm curious about this one because this could go either way. This could either be very generic or this could be really, really off the wall. But Preston, let's see what he had to say.
guilty pleasure movie?
My favorite guilty pleasure movie is probably Walk to Remember. Why? Because it's just so dumb and so bad. But at the same time, like there's something very nostalgic about it. And I remember from when I was a young preteen.
TV show?
The Real World. Because there's nothing better than trashy humans getting drunk on MTV's dollar.
Actually, those are both guilty pleasures.
Yeah.
No, those are legitimate. He has won the round so far. And all these are friends of the show. Have either
Yeah.
been on the show before or friends.
Or friends.
Not everybody's done a voice. Or
All right, this one's
What's
Jeremy.
your guilty pleasure movie?
That would be The Notebook.
Why?
And it's because Rachel McAdams is the love of my life, and Ryan Gosling is also the love of my life. So those two together, feeling all the emotions, gets me feeling all the emotions.
All right. What's your guilty pleasure TV show?
I don't know that yet.
Go. Off cuff.
I would say Flash and Arrow. I still watch both of them regularly.
I call Arrow guilty pleasure at this point. It's not great.
Awesome both.
Charlie, right in the show,
I
says that
still
they
watch
are
it.
all better than they've been in years.
Okay.
That apparently Arrow, I think his last text to me was, "It's a shame that this show is good now."
Damn. Damn.
That's safe.
All right. Here was Alex. For some reason, I'm expecting a influential show or
What's your
something.
guilty pleasure movie?
I like rom-coms with Tom Hanks. Yeah. Okay. Because it's Tom Hanks, and he's usually with Meg Ryan. And
But
what's
as
not
we
to like
said,
that?
Tom Hanks
Power
was a
combo.
likable actor.
Do you have a
I think
guilty
it
pleasure?
counts because I was
TV
gonna
show?
say Hitch.
I mean, it's not like I watch Hannah
Fucking love that
Montana or
movie.
anything. I don't all my shows I watch unabashedly.
All right. Thank you, Alex.
All my shows I watch unabashedly.
What a cool guy.
All right, I'm curious what Emily had to say on this.
So, what is your guilty pleasure movie?
My guilty pleasure movie is Miss Congeniality. It has been since I was like 12 years old.
Why?
I just really, that was like one of my first movies I saw Sandra Bullock in, and I thought that she was just a really powerful
never seen the movie.
character, just going from that
Never seen
really
the movie.
It's not
ugly
bad.
version of herself
It's
and
not good.
inspiration as
Never
a
saw the second
12-year-old.
one.
So it just always kind of stayed my favorite movie
Okay.
and comedy.
Do you have a guilty pleasure TV show?
Yeah, I feel like it's everybody else's, but Parks and Recreation.
Why?
It's a show that constantly makes me
consider Parks and
laugh.
Rec
I can have it on in the
Yeah, I
background
love
while
that
I'm
show.
doing dishes, anything like that. It's just a show that I constantly have on, and it's my go-to.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would say good go-to. That's a topic for another time.
Yeah,
even.
and I guess guilty pleasure can be many interpretations. Guilty pleasure could be like, I know this sucks, but I love it so much, I'm watching it. Or it could also be, I watched
indulge in
this
this so
season
much.
1 of Parks and Recreation 5 times in the last 3 months, and my roommate probably hates me, but I love it so much that I'm watching it anyway.
I guess that's true.
Yeah. Like, I'm rewatching Newsroom, which is a great show, but I've watched that show probably like 6 times. Is it a guilty pleasure at this point? Because I
At
know
this
what's
point,
happening.
yes. At this point, yes.
Okay.
It's been off the air. No one's talking about it. We've all seen the opening scene a gajillion times
skip it
posted
now.
on some friend's Facebook. So,
So inspiring.
yes. All right, last one.
Is that the one about America not being the number one?
Yeah, but it can be.
So last one. His band on the show does not count as far as him being a guest voice on the side, which he did a couple of times already on the show. But Zach McMahon. Let's find out what his guilty pleasure is.
What's your guilty pleasure movie?
100% Get Him to the Greek. I think
That counts.
I
That
myself and Joe are the only two people in the world that think that movie is as funny as it is. I can quote every obscure line from that show and frequently do on a
That
daily
doesn't surprise
basis.
me.
I was at the bar the other night bartending, and I had the most unbelievable Get Him to the Greek quote moment, and nobody even watched the movie. So
Plugging
nobody
his
got
own
it.
stuff.
He doesn't seem very guilty about
Yeah,
it. It's just
definitely
kinda-
100%.
TV show?
The Ranch.
The Netflix original?
Yeah.
For some
Yeah,
reason,
Ashton Kutcher.
I mean, like, it's not that great of a show. It's not that deep, but I watch it because it reminds me of Eureka, Missouri, which isn't even a great thing to remember. But, yeah, just like trucks, having sex with your high school girlfriend again, all that shit. Yeah. I just, it reminds me of home.
All right.
That one counts.
Counts.
That one counts. It's been on my queue forever since it came out. I have not watched it.
Oh God.
You know what? That was good to get some other opinions, but I still think Preston wins because he summed it up perfectly. A lot of us, not
And you
so
could hear the
guilty-
shame in his
yeah,
voice.
Not so guilty as
I don't
Walk
think
to
that was
Remember
shame. I
is
literally
so
got him
stupid.
right after he woke up.
Oh, well. That's also not
He
a
was probably
surprise.
dreaming about A Walk to Remember.
Mandy Moore started her career there.
Mandy Moore and
Joaquin Phoenix
no,
as John.
I thought it was Mandy Moore and
Keanu Reeves?
no.
This is the
No,
Johnny
somebody
Cash movie,
who's
right?
actually
No,
attractive.
no. That's Walk the Line.
Okay, never mind then.
No, it was some
That's Reese Witherspoon
It's,
and Joaquin
teenage
Phoenix.
Like Harry
heartthrob
Connick
guy.
Jr. No, Freddie Prinze.
No,
Wasn't it Freddie Prinze?
No. Look
Looking
it
it up
up,
right now.
please. Look it up.
Walk to Remember. Shane West.
Oh, the dude from Nikita and League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Sure.
Yeah, he's the young guy. He's Huck Finn or Tom Sawyer. He's Tom Sawyer in Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you sure it's not John C. Reilly and Jenna Fisher?
Positive. I don't know what that one is.
That's Walk Hard.
No, that's a great movie.
See,
Is
another
that a
one.
guilty pleasure?
I
love that movie.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say that goes into my movies
Yeah.
that are just stupid to be stupid. Because
it's
that's
so
really
good.
really
that's
funny.
the shitty one out of those like 10 movies that are all kind of grouped together. Those Will Ferrell comedies. That's one of the crappier ones.
He's not in it.
Will Ferrell's
No.
not in. John-
Oh, Walk Hard is not one of the crappy ones at all.
I think I would group those together. I mean, I know Will Ferrell's not in it, but like that kind of like
That
Humor,
group
yeah.
genre.
like that's if you were really into semi-pro, That's a guilty pleasure because that movie is garbage.
Bad.
Yes.
I did not think Walk Hard was that good.
Oh, I thought it was hilarious because I'd seen all the
Yeah.
Yeah.
musician biographic movies.
Tim
so.
Meadows was the best part of that movie.
And you never once paid for drugs.
Makes you feel good all the time. You don't want any of this.
You slept with my wife and then you slept with me. You didn't say you're sorry for either.
Right, what's the moral of the story? Happy Thanksgiving?
I guess, yeah.
Cool.
Don't be ashamed of what you secretly love.
I mean, don't make a big deal about it, but
If you're going back for fourths on turkey and pie, that's fine too. As usual, we end every episode with What's Piquing Our Interest, where we just say what's piquing our interest. Because it's Thanksgiving, Garrett, what's piquing your interest? Not changing up anything.
That was not different at all.
gotcha.
What's piquing my interest? Honestly, it's been the Harry Potter universe. After seeing this movie, I've just been scrolling through random Harry Potter wiki pages and just immersing myself in it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Just going back to the Harry Potter basics, basically.
Yeah, learning everything.
Mm-hmm. Sam, what's piquing your interest?
This one's, I'm going to guess, right up Garrett's alley. Anybody seen Hamilton? Or want to see Hamilton or care about Hamilton?
I want to see Hamilton. I don't, if it comes to TV, I'll watch it, but I'm not going to a theater to see it. If it's on TV and I can pull it on Netflix today, I would do it, but I'm not going to a theater.
I'm going to a theater. I just don't want to pay the prices to go to the theater to see it.
The theater.
The theater.
Anywho, but everybody knows the main star of it, Lin-Manuel Miranda, that guy that's insanely popular right now and could probably do anything in the world.
Yes.
So he was on, let's see here, last episode of Meet the Movie Press. The host, Simon Thompson, revealed that in an interview, Lin-Manuel Miranda told him that he would like to enter the Marvel Universe and that he had a specific character that he would want to play. And you will never guess what that character is unless you use the hint that I just gave about Garrett.
Spider-Man?
Not Spider-Man.
Right up my alley.
Spider-Man related.
Mysterio?
No.
Oh.
I wish.
Oh, that'd be pretty good.
So Lin-Manuel Miranda, the lead, the writer
of
everything for Hamilton, Carnage.
I haven't seen enough of this man.
Play Carnage. What?
I haven't seen enough of this man. Maybe he could go psychotic, and you know what? If he could give it his all and his passion about the project.
Do a psychotic rap battle? Is that what he's going to do?
No.
That just was the weirdest thing I've ever read.
But it's an honest answer, which...
No, mad props to you. And if you've got the range, go for it. When you're like, the guy that Hamilton that was all about unity and togetherness and history and
just
things
wants
like
to
that.
See the world
wants
burn.
To be a mass murdering, slaughtering psychopath. Range.
I feel like he'd make a great Mysterio, though.
Just put a helmet on.
No.
Anybody can make a great Mysterio.
No. There's only ever going to be one Mysterio.
Bruce Campbell.
Yeah,
Bruce
exactly. Yeah. It's Bruce
Got the gut.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Hannah, what's piquing your interest this week?
I guess I'm going to be boring. Thanksgiving. I'm ready for food.
That's fine.
Not guilty about it.
Yeah, not even.
What's your favorite part? 2 things. You can name 2 things. Favorite part of the food.
Mashed potatoes.
Okay.
With a lot of butter.
Okay.
That's one thing.
Is there enough butter that counts as a second additive?
Maybe.
Mashed potatoes and butter.
She's all about the butter.
It's got to be good butter, though.
Okay.
No gravy on it?
Oh, yeah, lots of gravy, but
Also needs butter.
Turkey gravy or brown gravy?
Brown gravy.
Turkey gravy.
All right.
My favorite part, I don't know if this is anybody else's, but no, the best part is when you finally finish your plate and you grab that biscuit and then you just slop up everything that's on the plate into a delicious bite. It's essentially a KFC potato bowl, but better.
You have to use a piece of bread and wipe it around with it too. So
It absorbs.
Exactly.
Joe, what about you?
I could have gone the Thanksgiving route, but what's piquing my interest is Westworld right now. Just because it's finally nice to have a show that everyone's talking about again. Because I'm not a Game of Thrones person. I quit watching The Walking Dead, so it's just nice to finally be back in that thing of seeing people talk about a show that you watch, and it's like, ooh, I can get involved in conversations.
I can engage with humans.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Have you not been listening? Oh, I guess you've been out of town. Just don't worry about what you're hearing in the house, because I started listening to Game of Thrones or watching Game of Thrones again.
Oh no, I've heard.
Yeah.
I heard this morning.
God. You ever that when that song comes on and you haven't seen it in a while, you're like, ooh, that's good.
Warm fuzzy
I'm trying
feelings.
to derail your Westworld by talking about.
You're fine.
I mean, that's what everybody's watching Westworld for, is to wait for Game of Thrones to come out.
Not what I'm doing.
Except you.
Well, and you know what? They're gonna have to do it a lot longer because it got renewed for a second season. Second season, they said probably won't come out till 2018, just based on the magnitude of one the characters that they hire, because like they're actually like known names as far as like Ed Harris and Anthony Hopkins, who like have other commitments, and James Marsden and all this other stuff. But the scope of how long it took them to film the first season, they said they'll probably be filming all of 2017 just to make an early 2018 debut.
Damn. Well, I'm glad you found something to watch, to share.
I'm very happy, and I'm very good at predicting this show too, which also makes me very happy.
Should that though?
Yes, because I look like the genius in the room.
Okay.
If you could have called out Khal Drogo dying in season 1. Drogo, yeah. If you could call it Aquaman dying in season 1, wouldn't you have been proud of yourself?
Not really.
If I could have seen where
also,
this...
you could have just read Westworld too and probably been able.
It's not a book.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not. It's a movie, and it's nothing like the movie.
Is it?
It's very, very, very little like the movie. It's a movie, but it's written by Michael Crichton. But
honestly,
and he wrote and directed it.
What I was trying to say is, if I could predict how a show was going with the ease that you're making it sound like you're doing with Westworld, I'd be kind of disappointed in the writers.
No, because it's like one or two little things. Like you're trying to predict the big twist instead of like the overall story.
Okay.
That's a dope movie poster. You're right. Okay. It was directed and written by him. Yeah. That's a cool movie poster. It's like a cowboy man.
Yul Brynner. It's basically Yul Brynner from Magnificent Seven as a killer robot, which is a precursor to the Terminator. All right, well, if you're celebrating and listening to this on Thanksgiving, feel free to drop us a line. I had no great segue for that one. But
if you want to tell Joey's a genius for knowing what things that happen in movies,
I'll just start throwing it to Sam on those then. There's many different ways you can do so. You can email us at threewiseradio@gmail.com. Find us on Twitter at threewiseradio / #threewiseradio. Find us on Instagram at threewiseradio. We promise to post something again here soon, probably. And then also you can find us on Facebook at Threewise Media. Movieverse comes out every Thursday, so if you're looking for another thing to do this Thanksgiving, download that. It's going to be oodles and noodles of fun. No one eats noodles during Thanksgiving. More on that possibly next week, but probably not.
Three Wise Radio is a production of Three Wise Media. For more information, check us out on Facebook.